we're going to jump right into the WSL Match Day 5 preview. Our eyes turn to Man United versus Chelsea on Friday. United have been wildly improved this season, I will say that. And they're coming up against an absolutely perfect Chelsea squad who has both depth and Sonia Bonpastor's just absolute tenacity and experience. Uh, what have we got, ladies? Who's excited for this match? How do you think it's going to play out? Can United pull an absolutely insane upset?
Well, I'll eat my words because I thought United was going to struggle. So, and they're the only
The
one
call
chilling
with
up
the
there.
accountability
They're the
early.
only one up there chilling unbeaten. So, but and of course, I love that because I'm a United girly. But I mean, this is the best matchup weekend so far, and I can't believe we're getting it. On the fifth weekend for them, but. I mean, for me, I look at Chelsea and they're still struggling with quite a few injuries. I think Lucy Bronze is still a question mark. Girma's still a question mark. And these are,
LJ, Neve Charles.
I
Yep.
mean,
Okay, hold on. But they have Kerr coming off the bench. They have Sandy Baltimore last weekend. They have, their whole, everybody that was on the bench. I even had it written down. What was it? Hold on, let me see if I have the list. Yeah. It was Ellie Carpenter, Kat Macario,
Yep.
Kerr, Sandy Baltimore, all on there, Goo writing. It is absurd. I agree with you, though, that Man United, this is the best I think they've looked consistently under Mark Skinner. So credit to them. I
Yep.
just think the depth, and I feel like they would fancy their chances the most out of this matchup for the first time in a while. And Fallon Joyce has been in excellent form. I would just say defensively, I would be a little bit concerned, especially with the attackers of Chelsea. But Chelsea's defense without Girma, Lucy Bronze, I feel like has been their biggest vulnerability. I just think the depth that they have is going to take over.
It's insane. It really is. I think the only considerations I have right now is October 7th. Chelsea has the consideration of Champions League that I
Yep.
know will be in Sonia Bonpastor's back of her mind. This isn't new. It's not a new frontier for Chelsea, however. They have such depth and talent and versatility that, 4 matches, 4 wins already. United just beating Liverpool away, getting a little bit hot already. I think that gives them a little bit more of a boost going into a massive match like this, even though I don't know, Chelsea just absolutely slapped West Ham around last weekend 4-0, including the absences. So they're still seem to be feared.
I think United's going to get it, y'all. And here's why. Chelsea are missing 2 major pieces in the back line, especially Lucy Bronze, who sometimes your best defense is attacking, right? Because she gets at the field so well, she puts the pressure on the opponent. And United has the largest goal differential. They are banging in goals, and the back line of Chelsea isn't at its full strength. So I think it's going to be tight margins. They're only going to win by 1 goal, but I think United's going to have the edge.
Ooh. Are you giving the edge to United too today, Lori?
Well, I'm giving the edge to Manchester United in the sense that I think this is going to be their best chance, like I said, as of late. But no, I'm still going with Chelsea. I think with the depth, regardless. My only concern is that they have been chopping and changing more often, in terms of how the 3-back, 4-back. But I'm you're looking across. You're bringing in Aggie Beaver-Jones, the form that she's in. Alyssa Thompson could start, right? I just think that this is a Chelsea team, even away from home, even with Man United, with the start that they've had. I still think the history says it's Chelsea. And I think at this moment, I'm still going to go with Chelsea.
Here's the drill, though. United, this is your chance to get the head-to-head on them, because it's probably not going to happen later in the season. If they could win this game and have the edge on the head-to-head, this is massive, and now is the time to get Chelsea.
Yeah, in the 16 matches that these two teams have come together to play, United have only won once. With that being said, one of the key things that United have really, really excelled at this season is they've tightened up so much defensively, and they look way more dangerous in transition than they ever have. And that's the kind of team profile on its own that could actually punish Chelsea.
Yeah.
I think if they can stay compact defensively, they have a chance. But for United, there's going to be a lot of questions asked of that defense, especially with Alyssa Thompson, who is just kind of a different kind of player than they're used to having to come up against in that Chelsea attack, which already is, I'd say, inarguably the best midfields and top line in all of WSL. Um, Even if Bon Pastor rotates, you know what? I think this game is more likely to come to a draw, and that will feel like a win for United, is my prediction.
Okay, I was just gonna ask, how many games do you think Chelsea are gonna drop this season?
Well, they haven't lost a league
They have-
game since
That's
May.
what I'm
right?
saying.
Last
How
May,
many
right?
times do you think they're actually
Yeah.
gonna lose this season?
If they take so I'm just going to consider WSL right now outside
Yes.
of Champions League.
No, only league play.
I'll say maybe they lose an odd 2. It'd be like my top expectation for them. They are a team that, yes, right now has some key injuries to just exuberant talent, but for what they have in terms of depth and coverage, they don't tend to lose much, and it really ends up being sort of the surprise teams that end up pulling points off of them. So, do I think they'll have an invincible season? No, but I think that they'll have very few losses. I think teams that pull up and draw with them will feel like they've accomplished a lot.
I think
Yeah.
the depth of Chelsea says so much about Sonia Bonpastor and the club. Like
Yeah, the
top
club's
young
commitment to
players
getting in.
that could start anywhere else, just want to play for Chelsea. And they're down to not start and to rotate just because they want to be on a dominant, winning, historically sound club. Like that is just incredible. They want to be trained well. I'm sure they have great training sessions from Sonia, an ex-player for a very long time. Like it says so much when fabulous players are sitting on the bench.
Yeah, serial winner in Champions League. She knows how to get things done. Let's move to another team who seemingly knew how to get it done. Champions League. Arsenal are playing Man City this weekend. Two clubs most likely to push Chelsea around this season, in my opinion. Man City are coming in absolutely hot, 4-1 win. Attack has been great. Confidence is soaring. Arsenal, however, my beloved, under Renee Slegers, they're winless in 2. They are drawing more than I'd like to see this early in the season. They have managed to control huge chunks of matches, but then are just kind of dropping points late. These lapses defensively, a little bit toothless in the attack when it comes to seeing those final balls through. Um, City don't have a Champions League match midweek, so they can kind of fully focus on just this match. Arsenal will be looking down the pipe at Lyon on Tuesday, so squad management will be a factor for sure. Um, where do you guys see this falling out? What do you think Arsenal's biggest strength is at this point that they need to lean into? Or how can they salvage a win against a Man City side that right now are kind of clean sailing through?
Yeah, well, I'm just going to jump in, McCall, because Cupo, you said squad rotation, and that's been the biggest talking point around Arsenal so far this season. Is just that they haven't. Like Kim Little has played every single minute in their first 4 games, and now Champions League starts. So you have like somebody like Kyra Cooney-Cross that hasn't played a ton. So it's just like, okay, there's been talk around like, why are these players in Nice Wongers? We all know that's been like,
Yeah, who weren't even on the team sheet last match.
He's not
Yeah,
even making game day rosters. Then
Mhm.
figure something out for the girl. Let her go. Something.
Yeah. So I do think that is interesting and what that's going to look like, because you haven't been rotating your squad. And that comes down once you start adding in a lot of different competitions and multiple games. that you need those players. So that's my biggest concern. Also, obviously the drop points in the last 2 games for Arsenal. They kind of look like they're just, with the talent they have, like getting by right now. Whereas Man City to me looks like rejuvenated. They look like much more dynamic. They look, there's a more fluidity and freedom that they're playing with this season. And listen, I think anytime you have Bunny Shaw on your team, you're going to score goals. So I'm actually give the edge to Man City, given that they don't have Champions League to look ahead to. All the focus is on this for them in this game. They have home field advantage. And I'm trying to think what else I had on here too, with all my notes that I put in. Yeah, I mean, I just think 3 goals in 4 games for Bunny Shaw. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for 2 sides where you had, golden ball, like golden boot rather, noms in Bunny and Alessia Russo, and the expectations upon each team. For me, Arsenal really need to fix the concentration lapses, clinical finishing again. And then what I'm really worried about coming up against City is some of the errors in their defending in transition that City can really exploit. Viv Miedema is very familiar with her former teammates and club, who will absolutely slice like hot knife through butter,
Yeah.
and get those goals off, which is kind of terrifying to see.
Don't let her
But
get
if
going.
if City wins this, I feel like it already positions them to be, the closest team to battle Chelsea, which again, these are teams that, WSL very top heavy. You lose matches early on, you lose a lot of footing very quickly where you start to slump down the table. So right now, stakes are high for both teams. Man City, I didn't anticipate them coming out as strong this season, but they have statements to make. We know that they suffered a lot of injuries toward the end of last season. They were a little bit light. They didn't really have the luxury of rotation. Again, to your point, Lori, Arsenal will rotate, but unfortunately, can we really call it a rotation if you're just rotating the same players around the same carousel? You're seeing the same names, just different day, another again. It does get a little bit redundant. So will Arsenal get undone this week just based on Renee's necessity toward sort of the creature comforts of players that she trusts? Foxy is going to be really busy this week.
Very, very.
I also just think it's interesting now with these top teams like Arsenal winning Champions League, but how do you manage all these other competitions too, to not just be able to win like a one-off? I mean, that's a huge accomplishment, right? Like we all know, like how amazing that was. But I do think like when you start to think about like winning the league, plus also putting yourself up there with in Champions League to win that consistently, it's like how you do have to use your entire squad. And that's what I'll be looking for, I think, most this weekend, is how they're preparing, knowing that they have a quick turnaround with the Tuesday game against Lyon.
Yeah, Lyon for me is intimidating. It's very intimidating.
Yeah.
It is. And I just think they're missing Leah Williamson. Like, she's a solid rock back there. She's consistent, right? And, they're just letting in too many goals and not getting great performances, and they need a player like that. So
yeah, I can't disagree with you there. I think we're seeing a shakier Arsenal than I even anticipated this season. Yes, they're coming off the momentum of being like reigning Champions League winners. However, the squad doesn't seem to be um, as seamless as it was in the latter part of the season, where there was a lot more fight in them. Again, lots of things happening late in matches, whether it be errors or lapses or just unable to finish, which is kind of wild given the talent that they actually do have for this squad.
well, Jen
It'll be
Beattie better get
interesting.
her girls. She better
I
call
know,
her
right?
girls.
Beattie, let's
Yeah,
put in
them like
let's put in
getting
calls.
second.
So what are your scoreline predictions, Lori? What do you have? You think that Man City are going to come up big this week, or Arsenal will triumph? No
Oof.
pressure.
Yeah. I do think that Man City, this would be their chance as well to get this win, and kind of really push and rival at the top and stay at the top this season. Yikes. I think I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to Man City, and it's going to be a late win.
Okay.
Oof, oof.
I think 3-1 City's gonna win. Although we have to remember, like, Lauren Hemp is ruled out, and I feel like she creates a lot in the attack, but still, I think Medina is gonna get 2, and they're gonna do 3-1 on them.
Okay, I'm going the inverse. I'm going to say 2-1 Arsenal. They're going to squeak it out. I think we're going to get this lovely little Chloe Kelley revenge tour, and we'll get some goals at Arsenal this match. Again, you have the Chloe Kelley against Man City, and you have Viv Miedema against
Yeah,
Arsenal.
fun.
Either way, it's going to be very interesting. I like to always lean on
I
the
love
petty,
this time of
so I'm
year.
like,
Yeah.
let's right. I'm like, let's see, rubs palms. I think we could get an Arsenal win out of this. We have to. We on you Gunners.